Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another video. In this video, we are going to discuss about some example programs in Python using the conditional statements. As we already discussed in the last video, we have the syntaxes, how to use the if statement, if-else statement, indentations, what is the meaning of indentation, how we have to use, what is the difference between the indentation and the block of code. So these are the things we have already discussed, and we'll be discussing some of the basic programs, how to use these if-else statements and all, how to produce an output by using these conditional statements, how to represent these conditions. We will be discussing everything with these sort of examples. Okay, so let's get started with our first example. Let's take a variable of a is equal to, let's say, 25, and then b is equal to 400. Now let's assume if b greater than a, as we already know b is greater, as we can see that. So b greater than, if b is greater than a, then print b is greater, right? That's it. If you run this, we'll be getting an output. Wait, I'll change the current file. If you run this, we'll be getting b is greater. As you can see, b is already greater, 400 is greater than 25, such that we'll be getting the answer b is greater than a. So here what we have done is, we have taken a condition, right? B greater than a is checking if b is greater than a. That means if this is true, you have to print this statement. Okay, so we have used the indentation here before the print statement. See, after assigning the condition, after taking the condition, we are taking the indentation here. If you don't take the indentation, let's check what you will be getting. You will be getting errors, right? It says indentation error, expected an intended block, right? So these indentation errors should be ignored. We have to take care of that. Instead of doing this indentation in Python, you can also do one thing. If you have only single statement under if you do this, if you write this in the same line, you will be getting the output. You can execute the output. Okay, you can execute the program, right? If you are writing as a block of code, suppose you have multiple statements, like let's assume we have another statement like end. If you run this, you'll be getting b is greater and end. If you are not having the multiple statements, like if you are having only single statement like this, if you try to write this, you will be ending up in errors, right? If you have only single statement, then only you can write within a single line. If you have multiple statements, you should not use like this. You must follow the indentation rules, right? If you write like this only, you will be getting the output. Otherwise, you will be ending up in errors. So you have to keep in mind, if you only have a single line in a program, you can neglect the indentation by using or by writing in the same line. Otherwise, you should not use as we already written some error, right? So you should not use like that. So this is the thing you have to keep in mind. We already know indentation is the representation of the curly brackets for this purpose. In other programming languages, we have curly braces, right? As we already discussed, we have curly braces within a program. So instead of these curly braces to write a block of code to execute, we are using indentation. Indentation is a simple thing. It is nothing but the curly braces in your other programming languages like C and Java. Okay, that's the thing you have to know. Let's take another example using if and elif, not the else. Let's take if and elif. Let's take a is equal to 20 and b is equal to 20 as well. If b greater than a, let's print b is greater, right? In the same way, let's take elif, not else. Let's take elif. Elif, another condition without an else, a is equal to b, then print a and b are equal. Here we can also write the else, but instead of taking else, in else we cannot write any condition, right? So instead of that, we are using a condition. So for using a condition, you can write elif. So if you write else, you cannot use the condition, right? So that's why I am using this. if you run this, you'll be getting A and B are equal because it checks B is greater than A. As you know, B is not greater than A, these two are equal, so it will be neglected. This statement will not be executed. Then it will be checking the another condition. Elif, we have given else if, like elif A is equal to B. If A is equal to B, then print A and B are equal. Okay, this is the sort of thing you have to know. In the same way, if you want to use else, let's take else. Else print cannot be judged. Let's take this as not equal to. Now let's run this. 1 second. Yeah, this thing. If you run this, you can see the output as cannot be judged because we have changed the condition, right? B is greater than A. This is a wrong statement, so this thing will be under false, right? Then it checks the other condition, like A not equal to B. A is not equal to B is a wrong statement, so it will be rendered as false, right? So this statement will be neglected. Then finally we have else. So for else we have a statement called print cannot be judged. Okay, so this is the sort of thing you have to know about if, elif and else. You can use multiple things, like if you have more and more conditions in your program to check sort of things, like in a step-by-step manner. If you want to sort of things, so you can use the nested if conditions. You can use the conditions, as many conditions you like. So but before using those conditions, you have to analyze in which step it will be happening like that, and in which step you will be coming an output, you will be facing an error. You have to know priorly, so you have to plan it priorly writing your program. Okay, that's the thing you have to know about if, elif and else. Okay, now let me clear this. I'll be explaining about shorthand if else. Shorthand if else. Let's take shorthand if else. What it mean? Let's take a variable A is equal to 5. In the same way, B is equal to 20, right? What we are doing, we have already written like this: if B greater than A, print this, and if else, print this. Like this we will be writing, right? In the same way, we can write in a shorthand. In a single line, you can write like print A if A greater than B, else print B. This is the shorthand usage. Like in the same line, you can write the conditions. If you run this, you can see B is greater, because we have written: print A if A is greater than B. Otherwise, else print B. So it checks the condition. If A is greater than B, it will be printing A. Otherwise, it will be printing B as an output. So that's the thing about the shorthand if else. So you can use this shorthand if else as many conditions you may work out. So instead of using it basically what it does is it basically utilizes the memory, the code memory, like the editor you are writing, right? It will be utilizing your memory and all the things. So you can, there is a good way to use this kind of statements, these kind of shortcuts, right? So this is the sort of thing you have to know about these if and else statements. So that's all for the video. Thanks for watching.